Namaskaram. Greetings to everyone. My name is Sumalatha. I live in Hyderabad. I am here today in front of all of you, thanks to PMC channel, to share my understandings about spirituality, science, and us. I am no expert or have no authority to speak on these subjects, but my deep interest and passion on the science of spirituality, the age-old wisdom, the scientific relevance and applications and functionality to day-to-day life to create healthy, wealthy, wise people among us and to raise the consciousness. So with that passion and observation of mine, I am here to share my understandings. I request all of you to listen with an open mind. As a child, I was very intrigued by the mystery of life, living, the secrets and mysteries of universe. When I would look at this vast, expansive sky, the stars, the celestial objects, the sun, the moon, the whole creation, the nature, and all the living, non-living, animate, inanimate things, and this tiny me trying to understand the mysteries, the miracles of every moment life is creating. As a child, I had this secret mission to find what all this is, what is the connection between the whole of creation. Who am I in this whole scheme of things? How am I connected to everything? And what am I doing here? So this led me slowly to gravitate towards our age-old wisdom, the wisdom of the masters, which has been thousands of years ago, the wisdom of the Bhagavad Gita, the wisdom of the Upanishads, not only the wisdom of Indian masters, but learning and reading about the wisdom of the Greeks, the Egyptians, the Israelites, and trying to relate to science, the exploration of science, and connecting it to life and living and practical application to live a very, very untouched life, untouched by the hurt, by the sorrow, by the ups and downs of emotions, of thoughts, of situations and circumstances, and living a life of beauty, grace, gratitude, and joy. So, out of this simple understanding and observation, I am here to share with you. So, my understanding of spirituality is nothing but science. There is nothing but science in spirituality. Everything is science. And spirituality runs on the laws of nature, which is cause and effect. If I snap a finger here, the vibrations of this snap just affects the other vibrations which is around, and that affects the other, and the whole universe is connected and affected by the cause of my snap of a finger. So today, the science, what we call as science, the quantum field science, quantum mechanics, have come to an understanding that there is this unified field of energy. The space between the objects, the vacuum between the things is really not empty. It is filled with electromagnetic field. It is filled with information, energy. So this discovery has brought science closer to the philosophical understandings and wisdom of our masters. Actually, universe doesn't divide anything as science, spirituality, as physics, chemistry, biology, as countries, borders of the countries or continents. Everything is one. What is this God we have heard from my childhood? I observed, understood from what people taught or told about God, and it became my belief to understand God as what they have told. But somehow it didn't fit into my understanding well. So I started my inquiry and exploration. And each one of you has your own meaning given to God. The word might be same. I might use God, you might use God, others might use God. The word is same, but the meaning behind the word God is different for different people. So for me, God is not a person. God is a power. God is the supreme intelligence. This omniscient, omnipotent, omnipresent intelligence, which is always there, everywhere there, beginningless, organizing itself as everything what we see around, trying to create everything, sustain things, and dissolve into itself. So, for me, this intelligence is God. So, most of the times, our understanding and meaning of God varies by our conditioning, by our beliefs. So, some people think of this intelligence as a person sitting there up and creating everything. But my understanding of God is this omniscient, omnipotent, omnipresent power, which is self-organizing, self-aware, the intelligence which everything is made of, which is a source of everything. So now, from here, we have called many people as gods. Like when I was young growing up, I was very fond of Jesus. Basically, I was fond of Jesus for his qualities of compassion and forgiveness. And we have many people in many places. It could be Jesus, Prophet, Buddha, Nanak, Krishna, Shiva, Sai, whatever names you give. These all of them were people like us who walked on this earth, on this planet, who lived extraordinary lives. So, since they have overcome the limitations of the humanness, who have lived life bigger than what we know of, so we call them gods. Instead of emulating their personality traits, instead of emulating them, we have deified them. We have put them on a pedestal and just started praying. It doesn't mean you don't revere or have gratitude for the people who have inspired you, who have lived extraordinary lives, but it has to be from a deep understanding of what they have achieved, how to get inspired by them, how to emulate them, how to transcend these limitations of our instruments, mind, body, and live lives powerfully, is what I learnt over the years of my inquiry. So basically, all of us are searching for a meaning in life. Why are we here? What's the purpose? And every time we have been taught or trained from our childhood through the education system to look outwards for answers. We have divided everything. We have divided everything into bits and pieces to understand. We have divided people. We have divided religions into religions, countries. Everything is a division. So our education system has trained us to divide and learn. So we are conditioned, we are habituated to see these differences, these divisions, which lead us into conflict, confusion, and chaos. To go beyond all these divisions into the unification, the source of one unified energy field or consciousness or Atman, Brahman, self, whatever you call, we see all the multiplicities and diversities of that one source. And how do we find this oneness? How do we find this source, the truth which is eternal? Sat Chit Ananda. We are Sat Chit Ananda, our nature. Sat, which is eternal. Chit, consciousness. Ananda, because it is forever. Actually, the Upanishads tell us Satyam Jnanam Anantam when they teach us about the nature of truth, consciousness. Satyam is eternal. Jnanam is that existence which is all pervading, and Anantam, which is infinite, beginningless. Because it is infinite, it is blissful. So, Satchitananda. So, in the philosophical terms, you call it Brahman. In the physics terms, you call it unified field. So, how important is it to find out the spiritual truth, the spiritual understanding of this oneness, which is connected, which is the source of everything what appears, and bring it, marry it to the material life, to use that wisdom in day-to-day life is what is very important. So let us understand what is the problem to understand ourselves. What is science saying? What is physics saying? Let us see. Now, we are made of trillions of, maybe a trillion cells, and each cell has trillions of atoms, and there are so many protons in each of our atom, and every minute, split of a second, there's a miracle happening. There are maybe a billion chemical reactions happening in us, maybe millions of growth and repair works happening within us every split second. And this is intelligence. This is intelligence which is functioning in us. So every proton we have is connected to any other proton in the universe. Physics has come to this particle entanglement. When you tickle one proton here, the effect of that tickling can be seen in another proton which is far away. So this particle entanglement has shown that these micro wormholes where the information is traveling immediately, instantly. So that means if we want to understand universe, where do we go? We need to go within us. And what are we trained to do from childhood? To go outwards, outside, and seek. Now, what is the problem in seeking outwards? I can tell you something. We all have these instruments of perception, the sense organs, the mind, the brain behind the mind. So the sense organs, the eyes, the ears, the nose, the skin, the sense of seeing, the sense of hearing, sense of taste, sense of touch, all these have limited kind of seeing. See, we can just see only a spectrum of visible light. Beyond that, we can't. The vision, what we see is because of the instrument, the eye of a human. So it can see things in a certain way. Whereas the instrument of a housefly, the eye of a housefly is very different. It has a compound eye. Maybe it can see one person as hundreds of people. Or maybe the eye of a tiger can see us as giants. So the instruments of perception limit our reality to what they can see. Same way, hearing. We can hear only certain frequencies, certain sounds, whereas there are other animals, the deep sea animals like dolphins or sharks or bats, which can hear supersonic sounds. So, if we can understand this, that our instruments of perception are limited. So, you can gauge only so much. You can observe to the visible eye, to the audible ear, to the sense of smell and touch and taste only that much, which the instrument is capable of deciphering. Then, how can you know the absolute truth, the ultimate truth? What you can know with these instruments of perception is a relative truth. No doubt, but it is not absolute. So, by understanding how limited are we with our instruments and to go beyond them with a deep observation, the skill of observation is very, very, very important. So, everybody says, know yourself, know yourself. Why should we know ourselves? If we know ourselves, we can know the whole universe, because that unified field of the universe, that source of all potentialities, all possibilities, all potentialities means everything what is created around, is the same intelligence which is the source of us. What appears to us, these sense organs, this mind, this body, these cells, these molecules, it has immense 99.9 space in between, so solid forms what we see. Even the universe has 99.9% space, the vacuum, but vacuum is not empty. Now the scientists have discovered that this is the field which is every millicentimeter is filled with energy and information. Earlier, our scientists, what are they doing? Scientists are just mimicking the cosmos. That's why I said spirituality is nothing but science. Scientists are just mimicking what is already there. They are discovering. They have used the Maxwell equation and Faraday and really made this technological civilization today we are in. They knew how to control this magnetic field, electromagnetic field, which is there around. Maybe about 150, 200 years ago, nobody would have even imagined that somebody can fly in an aeroplane, or even for that matter have these metal bodies, vehicles to move around. The television, the transistor, seeing things far away and so close, all these were unimaginable and unbelievable. What does our science fiction do? I'm very fond of science fiction movies and the comics. Science fiction is nothing but the imagination of the consciousness to create the future. If you have seen all the movies of Star Trek and all that, cell phone, smartphone was unthinkable. The communication, the computers, the language fed into the computers, all these are possible because of mimicking the intelligence of the universe, discovering the laws, the science, which is the source of everything. Now, what is science up to the next level? I think the innovations from 1900 to 2000 and 2000 to 2016 are much more rapidly happening, because we have very smart scientists and NASA working on observations and scientific research and findings. Of course, science has not reached to complete spiritual science, but it has advanced a lot. So, what is the next level of scientific innovation, which is going to be dependent on the discovery of the unified field? They are studying or seeing how to have control of power of gravity. They have already found how to, get into the magnetic field power and electromagnetic field power and use it technologically for the advancement of humanity, for the comforts, for the evolution of material world. So now scientists are really working on using the plasma, one of the 7 states of matter, spinning it, and they are planning to literally have this control of gravity and place all the vehicles above the surface. So very soon, not in next generation, maybe in this generation itself after a few years, we will be able to do that. So we will be able to maybe get that capacity of individuals to take off into the space, go for a weekend to the moon or Mars and come back. And also colonize the space. Colonize the space. Once we have mimicked, the biomimic the universe and learn the secrets of it and use it, definitely this is going to be the next level of creating wormholes. Wormholes to travel from here into the space and colonize space, deconstruct human beings here and again reconstruct there. It is possible. It is science, it is spirituality. Because we are all connected, everything is connected. So, individually, how can we get to the source of this oneness, this non-dual state of consciousness? Because there's so much of noise. How do we go to this silence, to this stillness of who we are? We see these waves in the ocean, but everything is that still water, that calm water, creating the waves. So how do we find that source of who we are? Is it possible for us with the instruments which are limited to function in the world to understand the depth of our being? It is possible. It is possible by having a keen observation. If we can observe, observation without reaction. See, most of the time there is so much of noise inside, so many opinions, so many judgments, so much of knowledge which is from our memory, from our experiences, which is limited. So if we can learn to observe without reactions, being watchful, if we are all the time coming up with our opinions and judgments and our own known understandings and knowledge, then we are not really observing or being watchful. We are just watching our own reactions. So, if we can develop that skill of observation, you can just remove all the clouds covering yourself, all the layers, all the personality which we have trained to create. Layer by layer, if we can really observe and go deep and know who we are. So for that observation, it cannot be like practiced, or you can't really train yourself, but for that you need to have total freedom. Freedom from what? Freedom from your perceptions, freedom from fears, freedom from hurt, freedom from sorrow, complete freedom from everything, and have a clarity of mind. With that clarity of mind, if we can observe, we can fathom and dwell deep into the source of who we are and know the infinite potentiality and possibility of this self, this Atman, this omniscient, omnipotent, omnipresent consciousness, this intelligence which is within us, and tap into that. And with that, marry the material world, live in this world, untouched by everything. So basically, what is hurt? Can we just wipe out all hurt or create no more hurt? Can we live a life free of freedom from hurt? Is it possible? Yes, it is possible. Is it possible to get Freedom from fears? Yes, because all these are very delusionary and illusory. Because the hurt or fear, whatever you call, because we have created an image of ourselves as efficient or good or great or loving, caring, smart, with all our professional titles, personal titles, this image gets hurt. So how to be free from hurt is to be free from images. It is possible. It is possible. It depends on how willing are you to know yourself, how much desperate are you to find all answers for all solutions, for all questions which have arisen in the past, present, or which will arise in the future. Complete solution for life. If you are really interested in that, you can. And also, one beautiful quality we need to really develop is detachment. Detachment is not that we are with nothing or not owning nothing. It's about being with things yet not letting them consume us, not letting them own us, basically. So, knowing when to withdraw from something, when to pull back from something, when to have a bird eye view, when to engage, this wisdom comes from the clarity of mind. So, detachment is a beautiful way to function. So, with this trait of detachment, nothing can touch you. You can be midst of chaos, conflict, confusion, but that does not touch you. The hurt does not touch you. The sorrow does not touch you, but you are among everything. So, once you know yourself, once you become self-aware, the self-aware of infinite intelligence, then you can function in the world and see the magic and miracle every moment and be grateful. So, how do we live like this? See, most of the time, most of us, even including me, I lived my large part of life with my belief, with my faith, with my dogma, with my God, with my guru, all kinds of things. But all these can take you to only certain place. After that, you need to detach. You need to let go of everything, what you know. And it's an individual observation and a journey which you need to plunge into. From all that which is known, you need to just let go of all that you know. How do you know that truth which is unknown to you if you are stuck and attached to what is known? So we need to really be courageous with such clarity of mind and purity of heart to let go of what we know, all the support system. We can be inspired by the gurus, by the teachers, but unless we detach and plunge into the depths of our being to find who we are, nobody outside can help or guide. I'm not saying, see, as long as you're blind, you can use a stick to walk around. Once you restore your vision, you won't need the stick. It doesn't mean you hate the stick or you break the stick. You have the reverence and gratitude to the stick for helping you till then. And then you know how gracefully to let go of it because you no more need it. So, if you can detach yourself from all your beliefs, all your dogmas, all that you know from the experience, from the memory, from the collection of the memory, if you have that courage to become literally a naked noun and then have this observation, a keen observation, understanding everything in its perspective, understanding desires. What is a desire, first of all? How these desires can entangle you, enmesh you, and engage you into the superficialness of life. Understanding that anything these senses come in touch with what you see, what you come in contact with, create a certain sensations in you, sensations of pleasantness and unpleasantness, of cravings, of not wanting things. So these sensations will, from the contact of the senses come the sensations, from the sensations comes your mind, your thoughts, the movement of your thoughts, which tells you, oh, this is pleasant, I want this is unpleasant, I don't want this. And so your desires sprout. Desires are not entirely useless. Nothing is given to us which is useless. They are needed to a certain extent. Even fear, for that matter. Fear is needed to self-protect physically. Anxiety is also needed to protect ourselves, to secure ourselves. But when we take it to that extreme level, we get consumed by all these, overly exposed to these things, then our life becomes very imbalanced, lopsided, and we cannot see things as they are because the mind is not clear. It is completely engaged or full of needs, desires, anxieties, depression, sorrow. So when are we going to get free? How are we going to overcome these anxieties, depression, the greed, the envy, the jealousies? We have this plethora of emotions. How to overcome these and go towards the higher? This is a skill we need to learn. We need to overcome. That's how you create the purity in the heart. You need to create a purity in the heart and clarity in the mind. And have the courage to let go, to detach from everything known, every support, and then see things as they are. So we need to help ourselves. We need to take the journey alone. We need to shine the light onto ourselves without depending on anything external. We can depend on the masters or the books or biographies or autobiographies or the gurus to a certain extent to get inspired, to be encouraged to take this journey. But it cannot be done by them to us. We need to be these soul, lone seekers to find the truth by ourselves. And then we share that with the world, make a world a better place, make ourselves change makers. So when we share what we understand, and again it helps us to refine and understand more of us because we are constantly expanding and becoming more and more self-aware. So this is a beautiful journey of life where every moment, once you really understand yourself, get to the bottom of things, dwell deep and touch the true chord or the core of who you are. And from there, marrying this to the daily life and activities and engaging with everything untouched, unscathed. That is the beauty of living and life. So for this, meditation is one technique. Suppose we have a toolkit. One tool is meditation to go deep into ourselves, to find ourselves. But it is not end of it. You need to do reflection. You need to do introspection. You need to do a lot of searching, journaling, understanding, unlearning. Actually, we need to do opposite of what we have been trained to. Generally, from childhood, when we are seeking the education outside about the subject knowledge, we divide everything, decipher everything, and we understand, we learn. Now, to know ourselves, we need to unlearn everything. So each one of us has to have the courage, the wisdom to unlearn, take this journey of great courage to understand who we are. So, we need to develop a process for ourselves, daily process, maybe 1 hour, 2 hours as soon as you get up, a morning routine, a daily routine, by which that can be your meditation, that can be your reflection, that can be your breathing techniques, that can be your journaling or gratitude. See, gratitude is another big movement in this. Now it has gained so much of momentum, so much of research, how this gratitude can help you have better relationships, better life, better mental health. Oh, a lot of research has been done. So as soon as you get up, how do you start your day? Being grateful for the earth, for the food, for the water, for the sun, for the sunlight, for the air, for the way you walk, for the gratitude to the earth. How do you start? You have to make your own daily routine a process of a 1 hour or 2 hours to support this self. And just that 2 hours of meditation or 2 hours of routine is not enough. What you do beyond that, the rest of the time, is very, very important. Are you bringing this clarity of mind to your daily activities? Are you applying this understanding, this wisdom in living? That is very important, not just your 2 hours of routine or practice. It is so easy. We are living in these times. This is 2020. I think the maximum surprises we had in this year, I don't think the chaotic, the conflicting, the traumatic times we are in. How do we create that environment for us? It is so easy to get lost in the environment of chaos around. One day of watching your media news or social media can really create so much of negativity, so much of pain of a lifetime sometimes. When you're drawn to the likes, how many likes I have got on the social media, oh, this is what is happening. See, there's so much of jealousy, there's comparison, there's envy, without we knowing what we are getting into it. We get consumed by overexposure into such an environment. And our association, whom are we being associated with? Who are the people we are engaged with? Whatever their thoughts are, we will resonate them. We cannot think something new and different. So it is very important to create an environment for us which is conducive for self-awareness, for self-learning, for evolving, empowering ourselves, to be powerful, to have power over our emotions, control over emotions, to have clarity of mind, to empower ourselves every day, not just a part-time. So it is very important for us in our lives to create an environment for us to see that till we find the truth of who we are, let us not be consumed by unnecessary, delusory, distracting things in life which are really good for nothing. So being sincere. So marrying that sincerity with the strategy, the data which you have found, analyzed, reflected, introspected, inquired, bringing that data into the dynamism of living, that is very important. Bringing the intuitions and the insights into daily life to live a life of peace, joy, fulfillment, freedom. That is what you have found by dwelling deep into yourself and finding yourself. It is really not very difficult, but we need to get out of our identifications, of our conditioning, of our habitual way of being, because that's how we got trained and we learnt from our childhood till now, through our education system, through the society, through the parenting. So to really go diametrically opposite to what we know, there you need to use your wisdom. There you need to use your discretion and see the relative reality with the right perspective, right value. There is no denying of the relative reality, but that is not absolute. And when you find this absolute reality, the true nature of who you are, when you become self-aware, the beauty of living, not only for yourself, for the people around you, for the society, for the community, for the family is really, really brilliant and spectacular. So I wish all of you a wonderful life of great, profound beauty, health, wealth, and wisdom. Thank you all for listening to me patiently. Wish you all the best.